You can be loud, annoying, crazy. I don't clean, I don't cook, I don't do any of the housewifey things, and still have a man who is successful, dotes on me, loves every single little inch of me, and you don't need to be submissive.
Tell me why every day I go out, looking adorable, tits bouncing, skin glistening, and yet nobody ever hits on me or approaches me. Ever. Oh my God, like please. I'll take a fucking construction worker cat call at this point. Please.
The anonymous dating review platform that's gone viral for letting women share stories and warnings about men has been compromised.
Of that T app and you put in your driver's license number or uploaded a picture of it and then took a selfie and sent it in, you're fucked.
The dating scene has become a complete mess ever since 2020, and if you were able to lock down a wife before that, then congratulations, you have got the last helicopter out of Afghanistan. Now that it seems that just about everything closes at like 6 o'clock now, and even if they are open, chances are you're most likely going to be at home playing video games or just scrolling mindlessly on your phone. There really is no in real life way to meet new people than to romantically pursue them. Obviously, there's a whole HR structure that is to prevent you from doing so. And apologies to like the 13% of women that is watching this, because yes, I am a male and I will be talking mostly in regards to men. But I do feel like my issues with the dating landscape is more of a generational issue rather than a gendered issue. Like by the time that the boomers were 25, they were probably already pumping out at least one kid. And obviously that would be within a marriage. Presumably because back then people actually lived and interacted with people out in the real world. The TV really was only just invented at that point. So these boomers would go around the TV at a certain time if they were really anticipating something. But I highly doubt this was when the era of hyped up TV shows were a thing. Something like Game of Thrones. That was something that was hyped up every single episode. You would probably be watching it in a watch party at a bar, which at least that's a social event. I mean, all of you are just glued to a TV screen, but still a social event. The boomers also were privileged with living in a very tightly knit community where chances are their neighbors were actually born in the same country that they live in. Boomers had the luxury of being amongst people who are of their own culture, who spoke their own language. Additionally, culture back then was much more homogenized. There weren't as many TV channels. There really wasn't any internet forums back then, so somebody who was sexually attracted to toasters would rightfully be ostracized for that. Instead, now the toaster fuckers go to r/toaster fucker. Technically, you could say I'm part of the problem because I have my own Glup Show YouTube channel that a bunch of people would watch, but not nearly the majority of people in America. Like, if you wonder why that there's so much attachment to old franchises back from the 80s and 70s, such as Indiana Jones, such as RoboCop, such as Terminator, they keep bringing those back. It's purely because they existed in a time period where movies were more important than they are now. Back then, you could make a franchise based off the success of a movie. Nowadays, it more seems like a franchise needs to be built up elsewhere, then be adapted to fit the silver screen. For example, what is currently playing right now in late July of 2025 is a Superman reboot, a live-action Lilo and Stitch movie, a live-action How to Train Your Dragon movie. Need I say more? These are all just reheated cultural fragments of the past, brought to you on a silver plate a little differently, but it's an old IP brought back to the movie theater. I'd argue partially that's why Inside Out 2 did so well in comparison to all the other modern Pixar movies. And a lot of people do say in response to, oh, nobody wants to watch original movies anymore, is like they want good original movies. But the Pixar brand has been tainted so much that I highly doubt a new original good film would do all that well at the box office. But Inside Out 2 was a sequel based on a successful Inside Out 1 that came out in the 2010s. and that was the highest grossing animated film of the year. Could you say that Elia would do nearly as well as Inside Out 2 did if it was good? It would definitely do better than whatever it's doing now, but I doubt it. So essentially, that's why you should be expecting Michael Bay's Skibidi Toilet movie soon. It's because the brand of Skibidi Toilet was built up on YouTube Shorts for the most part, and now it's being adapted to a movie. Thank you, Michael Bay. Very cool. That's just what I needed, a full Skibidi Toilet movie. Oh yeah, this video was about dating. What am I talking about? So now that there's not really much opportunity to meet in real life and engage with each other romantically, I mean, if you want to risk it at your job, go right ahead. Don't say I didn't warn you. But you know what? If she's worth it, then go for it. The safe way to meet with those of the opposite sex is now Tinder, or any other dating app really. Hinge seems to be the relatively more popular one now if you're looking for actual relationships. But frankly, if you're using a dating app for actual relationships, good luck, I guess. You will really need it, or you could just pay a monthly subscription to any of the apps and supposedly you'll actually get matches. I do remember just a little while ago, there was a guy who spent like 10 years on Tinder and he only got to meet up with the girl he matched with like twice in that 10 years. So the actual statistics are the man was on Tinder for 5 years and 93 days and only got one date in that time frame. The thing is, he wasn't exactly particularly attractive looking. And I had to deal in empathy. It's like, if I was a woman, would I want to date that man? And frankly, no. And once you start putting yourself in the shoes of the opposite sex, that's how you really come to understand dating and the dynamics of such. If you were to look at yourself from another's perspective, are you truly worthy of being somebody else's husband or wife? Because obviously, if you want to be emotionally entangled into somebody that much, yeah, it will take two to tango, and that is kind of a big leap. Unless you're a boomer and you get divorced like 3 times before you turn 40. Now, for as much as I'd like to complain that men aren't getting really any matches, it really does come down to how women and men treat the app differently. Women are much more selective when they choose who to swipe right on. Swiping right is like the good one, right? Men, on the other hand, they're much more likely to just swipe right on literally everyone and just see what sticks. Which that's fairly counterintuitive if some random Twitter user is to be believed, because obviously if you're swiping right on everyone, the app's probably gonna assume you're just a bot. So men, you should probably have standards and swipe left on people, because you do not want to feed some bitch's ego. But for as bad as it is, us as men, we do absolutely overpower women. And there have been times where a bad man just straight up violates a woman on a Tinder date. That, or, you know, dumps her body into the ocean. Obviously, it is a very, very microscopic percentage of Tinder dates that have that end result. However, when that gets repeated on all sorts of crime shows, crime podcasts, these stories get amplified and the women who listen to them get very paranoid of men. This is the best faith interpretation for the reason I would think an app like T exists. There have been a few apps that serve the same purpose, but essentially it's a Yelp review system, but for men. Just imagine one of your ex-girlfriends or ex-boyfriends, if you're a girl, imagine that person having a Yelp review of you after things turn sour. That is essentially the purpose of this app. And even funnier, this app is exclusive to women. You'll have to upload either a selfie or an ID for the moderators to manually approve you to use the app. But if you think that's crazy enough, oh, it gets much, much worse. Because features of this app, allegedly, obviously I'm getting all this information secondhand as I'm not allowed into the app, but supposedly these girls can share your address with each other. So like if you piss off the wrong woman, she may just straight up dox you on this T app. Now, there is some utility because obviously they can share whether or not the person that they're talking about is like a registered sex offender, but there is already a registry for that. You can look people up on the sex offender registry. So normally their complaints about men aren't nearly as severe as that. But in a cruel act of irony, the app had very low security and was able to get hacked, which revealed all of the users' selfies that they submitted to be allowed into the app. A lot of selfies of T users are being spread online, obviously originating from 4chan. And thing is, I could make really good content if I was allowed to do that, but I do not want to risk my entire career just to show you selfies of very, very mid to ugly women. Some guy even had the balls to compile all of these selfie images and have a ranker elo system website to where us men can choose which women are hotter, and there's a leaderboard on the top 50 hottest and top 50 ugliest. And in my time playing this game, the top 50 hottest was usually white women with some Asians sprinkled in there. It did eventually get brigaded to like photos of ceilings and photos of just men that they submitted, most likely as a joke. But if you're to look at the bottom 50 women using the T app, yeah, the majority of them are black women. And now there's another competing app named BoxScore, which is essentially the male equivalent to T. And the funny thing is, there is no restriction. I can even just go into the website and view all of these reviews, not even signed in at all. Yeah, so let's read the male equivalent to T. And since we're talking about T, go head on to thedragonstreasure.com and use code Manic at checkout to get 10% off your anime branded tea, coffee, and soap. Okay, so just to go through some of these BoxScore reviews. We have this girl from Orlando, Florida. She says she wasn't a slut, was hooking up with her ex and 3 other guys while we were dating. Chronic liar and will lie to get out of trouble. Gave me bumps on my wiener. That's 4 red flags there. An absolute total hag. Divorced her first husband and ruined her family. Calls police when you try to break up with her, or if you upset her too much, will actively seek to ruin your life at the slightest thing. Bitches be crazy. Snow Bunny Bop. 5 negative reviews. Legit super freak. If reeled in, will do any and everything you want in bed, but also incredibly unstable and crazy. Can be overwhelming how intense this one gets. Be careful. This dyke doesn't look anything like her photos in real life. No resemblance. Couldn't even imagine what a wet pipe would do. Face app is so deceiving. Wait, let's see what this... Okay. Absolute slut will touch anything that's moving. This bitch spent the night at my crib and took my credit card out of my wallet the night before I dropped her and her GFs off at the airport. Didn't realize until 2K was spent at High Isba Snake. That's crazy. That's crazy behavior, dude. She ate an entire bowl of chicken Alfredo pasta in front of me. Huge turnoff. She had the sauce all over her. And that's Karen. Her name's Karen. There's two positive reviews. Let's see. Is there... You've already voted green on this review. Oh, I voted green a lot of times. Oh, I didn't know. Okay, clearly I don't know how this site works. Good woman, just not for me. She wanted 2 kids. Yeah, I think you took the L on that one there. She does OnlyFans and she was featured in Migos song Bad and Bougie's music video. Fire song, by the way, and the Migos make great music. Ugly whore looks like a chode with legs, wears sweatshirts in summer for a reason. Run, boys. What? Anyone else going out with her? Question mark. Cool girl, but she is on mental meds to keep her stable. Literally will tell you, still yell at you if you look at her the wrong way. Photos are 8, looks like a 6 in real life. Guys, we gotta stop being deceived by Photoshop. She's a bop though. Went on MTV or some shit and got a giant ego. She has delusional standards. Bop. HR lady of astronomer is a hoe. Cheating on your husband is way worse than a dude cheating on his wife. That's okay. Talking about the one HR lady that went to the, what was it? A Coldplay concert? Owns Bop House arrest. Sophie, is that Sophie Rain? Dog, why are we reviewing literal I feel like this should be reviewing like people you dated, whatever. Oh yeah, I just so happened to be on a date with this girl named Sophie. Let me look her up. She's like the top OnlyFans star. Okay. Went on a date with her and her lips look like a duck's mouth. Thank you. This is the content I came for. She said she wasn't a slut, was hooking up. Okay, this is just repeating now. Okay, clearly this website needs a bit of work. So I really do hope that this video isn't all that blackpilling to you, because the moral of the story is that you shouldn't be obsessing over things that you cannot control and cannot change. The only real thing that you should be worried about if you are not currently infatuated by somebody is just to work on yourself. Obviously, don't do that indefinitely. Don't do that until you die. So if you do hope to actually attract someone that's worthwhile, then it's best to become the best version of yourself. I am sort of getting the sense that people do sort of want to return to tradition in a sense. They want to return to having an in real life community that, they are accountable to. If an app such as T got you so worried that, oh, you'll never find love again because of this app, don't you worry, because chances are it's gonna get sued, because it literally is an app that only allows women on it. But also, if you looked at any of the women that use T, for the vast majority of them, if you actually wanted to be with them, I would judge you very harshly. So the people that use that app, yeah, they're not worthwhile. They're below you. Do you know why I know that they're below you? Because you're watching me, and no low value male is ever gonna watch me. Only the highest of the highest quality. The only possible way you could get higher quality than that is to buy the Dragon's Treasure Tea for 10% off using code Manic. So in the end, just get your money, have some fun, be generally a cool and charismatic person. That comes easier to some people, but a lot of us, especially if you're raised online like I have, yeah, you probably had to learn that. But don't buy some course on how to talk to women. Generally, your skills will be applicable if you just know how to be charismatic in general. If you know how to market to people, how to be a really good salesperson, then boom, you already know how to talk to people and then convince them to do stuff. If you're able to get people to part with their money, then yeah, you'll be very good at getting women to actually talk to you and hold the conversation. Am I right? For the 3 women left watching this, I am genuinely curious to hear their opinion on this, assuming they haven't already made it heard in the comment section. Because given the average IQ of a YouTube commenter, especially when your post leaves its target audience, yeah, those comments are never after the video actually ends. It is always, almost exclusively midway through the video, even before a point is done being said.
Do you know how many of us took ugly ass pictures to get into the T app, bitch, and we still ain't in? Now y'all saying there was a data breach? So somebody else seen them. A hacker seen the pictures.
In my experience, women tend to hate men because of how badly they treat them, while men tend to hate women because they don't get to sleep with them or they don't find them attractive.